Here all in the previous class we have seen the concept of vectors, matrices, and for the today's lecture we will see the concept of arrays. For the today's lecture we will see how to create an array and how to perform different mathematical operations on arrays and how to access the elements of array. First let us see the definition of an array. Okay, an array is nothing but a data structure which stores the data in more than one dimension. This type of the data object. Okay, so it creates an n-dimensional array. Okay, so for example, if we have a statement like this 2, 3, 4, so that means that 4 matrices are going to be created, each with size 2, 3 rows, 3 columns. Okay, so that means that we will be having 4 matrices. The size of each matrix contains 2 rows, 3 columns. Okay. So next, arrays can store only one type of the data. So that means only you can give integer data, you can give the double data, or you can give the character data, but you cannot give the mixed kind of the data for an array. And next let us see the examples for an array. So see this one, this is the example 1 and this is the example 2, and then assume that, okay, so here we have this, the array name is A here, and here how many matrices are there? There are 2 matrices, okay. So and each matrix contains the size 3 by 3 and the data of each matrix is also the same, okay. You can observe here. So this is nothing but an array. So you can see here there are 2 matrices, okay. Each matrix size is 3 by 3, okay. And then let us see the example 2. This is the example 2, okay. So here how many matrices are presented? There are 4 matrices, and let the first matrix is 1 and the second matrix is, let the first matrix is 1, second matrix name is 2, third matrix name is 3, and fourth matrix name is, okay, 4. And each size, the size of each matrix is a 2 by 2, okay. The size of the each matrix is 2 by 2, okay. So these are all the examples for an array in our programming language. And let us see how to create an array, okay. So an array can be created by using an array function. Suppose if you want to create a vector function is there. To create a matrix, we have a matrix function. Similarly, to create an array, we have a function that is called as array, okay. So let us see the syntax of it. To create an array, we have a syntax that is variable name is equal to array of, okay. So you need to give the data, this is your input, and then this is about dimensions, and then you have to give dimension names, okay. So there are 3 parameters for function. One is the input, other one is about dimensions, other one is about dimension names, okay. So where let us see each parameter clearly. Data is nothing but input and dimensions is nothing but, it contains 3 parameters. One is rows, other one is columns, other one is matrices. So rows is discussing about the number of rows that are to be created, and columns is nothing but number, and matrices are nothing but how many matrices that you are going to create, okay. So at this place you will give the matrices, okay. And then dimension names. So if you want to specify names as matrix names, then you have to specify them. You have to pass names parameter as we have seen in the matrices concept. Next let us see how to create an array, okay. Assume that this is a matrix and how to create an array, okay. So how to write a statement for getting this array, let us see it. So what is the matrix name? The matrix name is, okay, the matrix, what is the matrix name? The matrix is A, okay. So let us try to write the statement for creating this array. So A is equal to, okay, let the matrix name is, let the array name is A. So I am writing A here, the array name is A. So, and you need to write array function here. What is the data in 2 matrices? The data in 2 matrices are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So the 2 matrices data contains the same. So you can give like this C of 1 colon 9. And it is also the sequence of the letters, sequence of the numbers. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So the data is given in the form of a sequence. So you can make use of 1 colon 9. So this is about data. And what is the next one? You need to give about the dimensions. So what are the dimensions here? So the dimensions here, so dimensions is equal to C of, okay. So how many rows are there? How many columns are there for each matrix? There are 3 rows, okay. So 3 rows and then 3 columns. So this is discussing about rows, columns, and then how many matrices are here? So there are 2 matrices, okay. So matrix 1 and matrix 2. So you have to give 2 matrices here. Okay, so by giving this, you will get the matrix like this. Okay, so see this one, this is the syntax of it. Okay, so data comma dimension is equal to C of rows comma columns comma matrices. Okay, so by giving this statement, A is equal to array of C of, okay, so this is about your data and these are discussing about your dimensions. Okay, so how many rows are there for each matrix and how many columns are there for each matrix and how many matrices are presented in array. Okay, you have to give those parameters. Okay, you have to give the number in the dimensions parameter. Okay, so suppose if you have not specified about the dimensions and you specified only about the input, at that case what is happening? Okay, so A is equal to array of, if you give the statement, see here, if you give the statement like this, A is equal to array of C of 1 colon 9. We have given only we have given only input, not specified about the dimensions. At this case, what is happening? Okay, so A is equal to array of C of 1 colon 9. At this case, it is printing simply a vector because you have not specified about the dimensions. Okay, so we will get the array only when you specified about the dimensions. Okay, so let us see how to create an array for these 2 matrices. Okay, first in the example A, we have 2 matrices here, one is A, other one is, we have 2 arrays here, one is A, other one is B. Let us see how to create an array. Let us see how to create an array for array A. Okay, so A is equal to, I have given the syntax for your convenience. So array of data you have to give for 2 matrices. Okay, so data of, in that data, what is the data given for the 2 matrices? Okay, so you can observe here the elements are 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 and then 20. After this again the first data is repeated. So altogether the elements presented in the array are, so 11 to 20. Okay, so 11 to 20. And then you have to discuss about the dimensions. So dimensions is equal to C of, okay, how many rows are there for the 2 matrices? There are 3 rows. So you have to give 3 rows and then 3 columns are presented. How many matrices are presented? So 2 matrices are presented. So you have to give 2 matrices. Okay, so like this we can create array A. Let us see how to create an array for B. Okay, so B is equal to array of, what is the input given for array B? So the input given for array B, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let us observe the input 1, 2, 3, 4 and after that the data is repeated. Okay, so altogether the elements presented in the array B are only 1. So at this case you have to give C of, okay, so 1 colon 4. And then what about the dimensions? So the dimensions is equal to C of, okay, so there are 3 rows and then 3 columns. So 3 comma 3 comma 2. Okay, so 3 rows, 3 columns and number of matrices are 2. So you have to give 2. So by giving this statement you will be able to get this matrix. Okay, next let us see the other example. Okay, so let we have other example here, array. So let the array name is AR. So AR is equal to, we have to make use of array function. So array of, okay, so C of, okay, so what is the input given? We have 3 matrices here and the input for 3 matrices are different. Input of 3 matrices are different. So the first input is 11 to 14. Okay, you have to give the comma like this. And the second matrix input is 21 to 24. So you have to specify other input. Okay, and then third input matrix is 31 to 34. Okay, so 31 colon 34. Okay, so when you have different matrices and each matrix is of having different input, at this case you have to specify those inputs like this. Okay, so 11, 12, 13, 14. So the first matrix is the sequence of elements. The first matrix has sequence of elements, and that is from 11 to 14. And in the second matrix we have 21 to 24. So we have to specify 21 to 24. And in the third matrix we have 31 to 34. You have to specify the input like that. Comma. We have to specify the dimensions. Dimensions is equal to C of, okay. So what is the size of the each matrix? The size of each matrix is 2 by 2 matrix, and we have 3 matrices are presented. So we have to write 3. So by giving this statement, able to get this matrix. Okay. So when you execute this statement in our console, you will get this matrix. And next let us see other example for array creation. Okay. So this is the example. A is equal to, okay. So let us write the other statement. Let the matrix name is A. So I have written A here, and try to make use of array function. Array of, what is the input for the 2 matrices? The input for 2 matrices are the same, that is 1 to 9. You can observe here 1 to 9. So you just specify 1 colon 9. Because 2 matrices input is same. If at all there is different inputs for different for the matrices, then you have to specify the input for the matrices individually. And then next, data is equal, dimensions is equal to C of, dimensions is equal to C of, okay. So how many dimensions? What are the number of rows, number of columns? There are 3 rows, 3 columns, and 2 matrices are presented. Okay, so this is about the creation of array A here. And next let us see the other example here. You can observe that, see, previous matrix has 1, 2, 3, and then in the second matrix here the row names are changed as row 1, row 2, and then row 3, and then columns are changed as column 1, column 2, column 3. So that means your row 1 is going to be, so that means your 1 is going to be changed as 2, and then 2 needs to be converted as row 2, and 3 needs to be converted as row 3, and columns also column 1, column 2, column 3, like that. And what about the matrix names? Previously we have 1, now it has converted as matrix 1, and then the matrix names are matrix 2. At this case, what you need to do? Okay, so we need to specify the row names, and then column names, and then matrix names in different variables, and then we need to pass those as to the dimension names parameter. So at this case, first let us create the column row vector. First create the row vector. So row is equal to, row names is equal to, I am writing like this. So this is a variable, this is a vector which I am going to store the row names. So row 1, what are the row names here? Row 1 and row 2, and then row 3, and then column names. So the column names are, column names is equal to C of column 1, column 2, and then column 3. Okay, so we stored the row names in one variable and column names in other variable, and we also need to store the matrix names in other variables. So matrix names is equal to C of, okay. So what are the matrix names here? The matrix names are matrix 1, just give, okay, so how they appeared, and then the second matrix name is matrix 2, you have to give matrix 2, okay. And now we have specified the 3 vectors. One is for row names, other one is for column names, other one is for matrix names. Just we need to pass these vectors to the dimension names for array A. So I have already created A here. A is equal to array of C of 1 to 9, and dimensions is equal to 3, 3, 2, and you need to specify the dimension names here also. Here dimension names is equal to, you need to write the dimension names in the form of a list. You need to remember this. So list of, okay, so how many parameters are there? One is row names, comma, column names, comma, other one is matrix names, okay. So like this we will Like this you will create the matrix. And now let us see the other example. Now let us see the other example. So this is my matrix, and this now let us see the other example. This is my array, and what is the array name here? Array name is A here, and the column names as well as row names are represented with different names. Okay, and matrix names also 1. The first matrix name is 1, the second matrix name is 2, third matrix name is 3, fourth matrix name is 4. So we need to specify their names. Okay, so first let us specify the row names here. Okay, so I am writing the row names. The first one is row names. So the first, let us specify the row names here. So row names is equal to C of, what are the row names are available? Okay, so C, other one is D. You can check here. The row names are C, D for each matrix, for all the matrices. And then let us write the column names. Okay, let us create the column names vector. Column names is equal to C of, what are the column names available? So one is A, other one is B. Okay, so we have to write A, and then other one is B. And then let us write the matrix names. Okay, matrix names in one vector. So that vector name is matrix names. We have 4 matrices. The first name is 1, and the second name is 2. Okay, and the third matrix name is 3, and the fourth matrix name is 4. So we have to write like this. Okay, so we have specified the row names in one vector, column names in other vector, and matrix names in other vector. Now we need to pass these parameters for an array. Okay, so let the array name is A. Okay, so this is my array. Let the array name is A. So A is equal to array of. Okay, so what is the input here? The input for each matrix is different from the other. Okay, so the first matrix input is 21 to 24. We have a sequence of elements for the first matrix. And for the second matrix, what is the input? That is 31 to 34. Okay, so I am giving 31 colon 34. And then comma. The third matrix inputs are 41 to 44. And then fourth matrix inputs are 21. The fourth matrix inputs are, and the input for the fourth matrix. Okay, so let us see the input here, array of. Okay, so the first matrix input is 21 to 24, so I have written 21 to 24, and the second matrix input is 31 to 34, third matrix input is 41 to 44, and fourth matrix input is 21 to 24. The fourth matrix input is 21 to 24. Okay, so we gave the input here, and after that what we need to give? Okay, we need to specify about dimensions. So dimensions is equal to C of. Okay, so what are the dimensions for each matrix? The dimensions for each matrix is 2 by 2, so we will write 2 comma 2. And then there are 4 matrices, we will write 4. So 2 comma 2, 4. And after that you need to specify about the dimensions. We have the different dimension names, so we have to specify the dimensions names is equal to C of, you have to write the list. Okay, so the dimension names that you have to write here is, you have to specify the dimensions names. Okay, so in the form of a list. So you need to specify the dimension names. So dimensions names is equal to a list of, what are the dimension names that we have given? So one is the row names, okay, other one is column names, okay, other one is matrix names, So like this we will create an array for a given example. Okay. So now let us see how to access the elements of an array. Okay, so to access the elements of an array, you need to specify the row value as well as column value. You need to specify the row value as well as column value and also the matrix number. Okay, so for example, to access, okay, so this is the syntax. You have to give the array name. After that, you have to give the row value, column value and also the matrix number. Okay, so to access, for example, to access third row second column of the matrix 1, to access third row second column of the matrix 1, then what is the statement that you have to give? So x of, let the array name is x, so x of 3 comma 2 comma 1. Okay, so at this case you have to give 3 comma, because the required element is third row second column, so 3 comma 2 comma matrix number is 1. Okay, so for example, to access, I have given some examples here. To access second row third column, okay, of the second matrix, then you have to give the statement here. So x of 2 comma 3 comma 2 you have to give here. And then to access third row of first matrix, okay, we have specified about only third row first matrix. Okay, so third row and then first matrix. I have not specified about the column, so just give empty over there. Okay, so x of third row and then not discussed about the column, so you will leave it as empty and then give one more option, one more comma, and then just specify about the matrix name. To access only the second column of matrix 1, at this case what you will give? Okay, so x of, you have to give second column, not specified about the row. So row I am giving empty and then second column I want, and then I want the matrix 1, so I have to give like this. And then to access third row third column of two matrices, okay, so if we have two matrices, okay, so if you want to access all the elements of third row third column, at this case what you will do? So you have to give x of third comma 3 comma 3 comma, don't specify about the matrices, just leave it as empty. So by giving like that, you will be able to access all the matrices, okay, all the elements of the matrices which are presented at third row third column. Okay, so of the matrices which are defined in the array. So like this you will access the elements of a matrix. Now let us see, suppose if you want to access, okay, so if you want to access, you can see here, for example I have given, if you want to access second row second column of the first matrix, then what is the command that you will write? To access second row second column of the first matrix. Okay, so I want to access 5. Okay, so that means I can give the command that is a of, what is the command that we have to give? A of the matrix, the second, the element, the row number is 2 and then column number is 2 and then first matrix, you will give like this. Okay, to access, suppose to access 7, then at this case what you will write? So you will write a of, okay, so at this case you will write a of first row third column, okay, so a of first row third column of the first matrix. Suppose if you want to access all the elements of the, suppose if you want to access all the elements of the second row of the two matrices, second row of the two matrices, at this case what you will do? So to access second row, okay, I am writing here second row of two matrices, then at this case what you will write? A of, okay, so just to specify about second row, you need not specify about the columns, at this case leave empty, just give the comma, and then after that of two matrices, okay, we have two matrices here, so you need not specify about the matrices, just give it as empty. Okay, suppose to access all the elements of the first column of the two matrices, at this case what you will write? You have to write the statement like this. Suppose to access all the first column all the first column. At this case what you will do? So your command will be A of, okay. So you required all the elements of the first column. We are not specifying about the rows, okay. At this case what you will do? You will leave the empty space for the row and you will give the column as 1 elements all the of the 2 matrices. At that case you will give it as empty. Like this you will access the elements of the matrices, okay. So next let us see how to perform different operations on arrays, okay. Next let us see how to perform operations on arrays. So for example you can find the maximum element of a given array and you can find the minimum element of the given array and you can find the mean of the row, okay, or the column for a given array, and then you can, like this you can perform different operations on arrays, okay. So let us see the syntax how to do that, okay. So the syntax of it is variable name is equal to apply of, okay. So you need to make use of apply function, so apply of, okay. So array name, you need to specify the array name and C of 1 or 2, okay. So 1 is specifying about the row here, 1 is specifying about the row here and 2 is specifying about the column here. Suppose if you want to perform any operation in the rows, then you have to give it as C of 1. If you want to perform any operation on the columns, you have to specify it as C of 2, okay. So 1 is specifying about the rows and 2 is specifying about the columns, okay. And then you have to give the function that whatever you want, okay. So let us see how to do, okay, how to find the maximum element in the given array. So at this case you can see here, okay. So example, to find the maximum element of the row. So this is the given example. In this example what you will do? So you have to write the statement like this: R is equal to apply of, R is equal to apply of, okay, maximum element of the row, okay. So apply of, what is the array name? So array name is A, okay. So array name is A and then you have to specify about C of 1 or 2. You are going to find the maximum element of the rows. So row is nothing but 1. You have to give about 1. So C of 1, function name, that is max. When you give the statement, you will be able to find the maximum element from each row, okay. So you can see here when you execute, I have executed here apply of A comma C of 1 comma max, okay. So when you execute R here, what is the answer here? So it is printed 20, 34, 9. So what is the answer here? What is the maximum element in the first row? You can see here. So the maximum element, this is the first row elements 147 and here 224. So what is the maximum element when it is compared with 2 rows? It is 20. So 20 will get printed here. And then what about the second row? Okay, so second row elements are 2, 5, 8 and 1, 34, 6. So maximum element is 34. So 34 gets printed. And in the third row, the elements are 3, 6, 9 and 3, 8, 7. These are the elements. So in this case, what is the maximum element? The maximum element is presented is 9. And suppose if you want to find out the maximum element in the column, so then what you will do at that case? To find the maximum element in the column, at that case what you will do? You have to write the statement R is equal to apply of, R is equal to apply of, okay, let the matrix name is A and then you need to specify about the row or column. To find out the maximum element in the column, we have to write 2 and then max. When you give like this, okay, when you give like this, your answer is, okay, so your answer is like this: apply of A comma C of 2 comma max. So C of 2 is nothing but columns, okay. So to find out the maximum element comparatively, to find the maximum element in the columns of the matrices, then you need to specify like this C of 2, okay. So now see the example here. What are the columns presented here? Column elements 1, 2, 3 and 2, 1, 3. So what is the max here? So that is 3. So 3 is presented. 3 is presented here. And then next one is 4, 5, 6, 20, 34, 8. What is the maximum element here? Maximum element in the 2. The next is 7, 8, 9 and then 4, 6, 7. What is the max? That is 9. So like this you will find the maximum element in the row or column. So to perform any operation in the row, you have to write C of 1. To perform any operation on columns, you have to write it as C of 2. You need to remember this point. Now let us see other example here to find out the minimum element of the row. Okay, at this case, okay, so we will write the statement like this: A is equal to apply function, you have to write apply of, let the array name is A, okay, array name is A, so C of, to find out the minimum element in the row, so we will write C of 1, and then to do the min, okay, to find out the minimum element, we have a function that is min. So when you execute this statement, okay, you will be able to get this answer, okay. So let us see here, you can check, okay. So the minimum element in the rows, the first elements are 147, the second row elements are 224. What is the minimum element here? The minimum is 1, so 1 is printed here. And then next, okay, so in the next row 258 and then 134 6, what is the minimum here? So 1 is the minimum element, so 1 is printed here. And then in the next row 369 387, the min is 3, so 3 is printed here. So other examples, so when you specify A of A comma C of 2 comma min, so that means it is finding the minimum element between the columns, okay. Like this, you can perform different operations on arrays. Okay. Next, let us see the attributes. When you have different names for rows as well as columns as well as matrix names, at this case, you can access all those names of the matrix. You can access all those names of the matrix or arrays, okay, names by using the attributes function. Suppose when you have a different names for rows as well as columns as well as matrix names, at that case we can access all those names of the rows, columns and then matrix names by using one function. That function name is called as attributes, okay. So you can see here attributes of variable name, okay, attributes of variable name, attributes of variable name. Okay, so attribute is a function which is used to extract the row names, column names and matrix names. To extract the names whatever given for rows as well as columns as well as matrix, we have a function that is called as attributes. Let us see the syntax of it. So syntax of it is attributes of variable name. When you give like this, okay, see this one, this is my matrix, this is my array, and if I give like this attributes of A, it is printing about, okay, so the dimensions, okay, so first it is printing about the dimensions, the dimensions are, it is printing about the dimensions. So what are the dimensions here? 2, 2 to 4. So 2 to 4 is nothing but there are two, the size of the each matrix is 2 by 2 and there are 4 matrices are presented, so it is printing as 4, okay. This is about the, okay, size of the matrix, and this is about number of matrices, okay. And then next it is printing dimension names. What are the dimension names? For 1 is nothing but row, 2 is nothing but column. So it is printing dimension names of 1. So that means it is printing the dimension names of the rows. Okay. So the names, the row names are C, other one is D. So it is printing CD. And then dimension names of 2. So that means it is printing about the columns. The column names are AB. And then dimension names are of 3. Of 3 is nothing but, okay, so in arrays 1 is nothing but, you need to remember this point here, 1 is nothing but, 1 is discussing about always rows, 2 is discussing about columns, and then 3 is discussing about matrices. You need to remember this point. 1 is for rows, 2 is for columns, 3 is for matrices. So similar to that, dimension names of 1 means it is printing the row names. Dimension names of 2 means that it is printing about the column names. Dimension names of 3, it is nothing but it is printing the names of the matrices. Okay. So like this you will access the elements, like this you will access the row names, column names as well as matrix names that are given for an array. Okay, this is the end of the class. In this lecture we have seen what is an array and how to create an array in our programming language. and how to give the row names as well as column names, matrix names for an array, and how to access the elements of an array, and how to perform different operations on arrays. Thank you.